Yo, what is up everybody? It's your man, I Do a Barber, and I'm back with another haircut tutorial. And this one, we're doing the drop fade with the ghost line beard. Not sure if you guys have ever seen this type of haircut, but just wait until you see this guy get transformed. This is a dope tutorial. You will love it, so just stick around. So I'm starting off with my Envies with the wall blade, the wall fade blade on it, and the lever slightly open, and I'm creating my first line of demarcation. So as you see, as I go to the beard, I'm also going to create this line, and I'm creating it to the shape that I'm going to line up his beard. So keep that in mind if you're trying to do this. Now I have my 5-0 blade and I'm balding out now. Very simple, clearing out all the hair that's underneath that line of demarcation. And I'm doing the same thing with the beard as well. So as you see, that line of demarcation that I created on the beard is the same shape that I'm going to create on his line on the top, because you want it to follow and be symmetrical. So now I'm following up with the Bronze Series 7 shaver to clear out that area underneath, and the same thing with the beard. The key with the ghost line beard, especially with the beard portion, is you want to have the lowest portion to be as bald as possible so you can see that nice contrast. I have a video on the channel of me actually doing it on myself. If you guys want to see that as well, I'll throw a link to that video in the description. But I'm going in straight away with the 1.5 and I'm creating about a 2-inch guideline. You'll notice in the back the guideline expands. You can see it right there. It's a lot bigger than it is on the sides, and I did that because one, the shape of his head and the shape of the fade. You want the fade to drop with the bulk of the hair, but also keep in mind when you're doing a drop fade, the occipital bone, the hair back there is more coarse and more dense, so you're gonna have to spread out the blend more in that area, and typically the hair on the sides fade really easy through the temple area. My barbers out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not balding, but I'm removing the bulk with the 1.5. And this is the key with fading, guys. Like when you want to fade something, it's better to remove the bulk down first, then get into the fade, because you don't want to fade into bulky hair. So now I have my Envies with the level open, and I'm creating a 1-inch guideline. So essentially I just created 2 guidelines, but I did it in reverse. Typically you see people do it with the open lever first, then a 1.5, but I just did it in reverse. It's basically like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I removed the bulk first, and you see both lines are symmetrical. So now I'm going in with my Envies with the lever closed, and I'm immediately attacking that bottom line. I'm bumping it up slowly and slowly until I get to the top of the guideline. And this is very simple. I'm just bumping it, and I'm just gonna attack it. You can attack it either way. You can create the 1-inch guideline and work your way down and close the lever until the line is gone, or you can create the 1-inch guideline and then start closed and work your way up to open. It is just your preference. If you guys watch many of my videos, I work both ways, and I have pretty good success working both ways. So this is just one way I'm showing you guys. But before you proceed on to the 1.5 guideline, you want to make sure that this area is extra clean, because what happens when you're fading in this process, once you move on to the 1.5, other flaws, if you have any in that area, will expose themselves once you fade out this area that I'm working in now. And I have the wall half guard on with the lever open, and you'll see that line lighten. You see the line that was created with the lever open, you see that line lighten already, and that's great. But I'm gonna have to work my way down closed. So in this manner, you saw before I worked my way from closed to open. Now this manner, I'm working my way from closed, well not closed, but open to closed, working my way down slowly. And see, as you see that area in the back, like I said earlier, at the occipital bone, it's really tough. That hair, you really have to go up a little bit higher. You have to really close the lever and do things a little bit differently in the back of the head. It's just the way the hair grows, guys. I rarely see people where their hair in the back cooperates like it's supposed to. And then of course, People's occipital bones may protrude in certain areas, so it may cast shadows and do different things. So be very careful about setting guidelines on an occipital bone or below. Most people like to just do it above so they don't have to worry about it, but that's all your preference and your choice as a barber. So as you see, this guideline, it's pretty much faded. So if you see that there, you see that area, it's pretty faded. So now we're gonna go on to the beard. Same process as the other one. Although this might be a beard, you wanna keep the system and the steps the same. I'm coming in 1 inch guideline on the beard. Just like I did on the fade on his head, I'm doing the same thing with the beard. Creating a 1 inch guideline. As you can see through the sideburn area, the guideline's more shallow because of course you don't have much area to work with there. But once you get down to his jawline and his cheek, you can expand that guideline, and that's where you really want to see the fade pop, as in this area. So now in this manner, I'm working my way from biggest to smallest. Just like I told you before, what you can do with the open and close lever, you can start open, work your way closed, and that's what you just saw me do here with his beard. You see, it looks like it looks as if there's nothing there, right? It looks like as if I balled it up to that area. But once I go through this process, this is where the fade on this beard comes together. So of course I took down all the bulk with the 1.5 blade. Of course, if you know my next step is to come in with the wall half guard with the lever all the way open and work my way small. So that's all I did. So essentially, the wall half guard open is a 1. I went all the way up through the top of that ghost line with the wall half guard with the lever open, which essentially the longest portion of this ghost line beard is a 1. I just removed his bulk with the 1.5. If you're keeping track and if you're curious, how high am I going up? I went up all the way with that wall half with the lever open. So now, as you see, I'm working through this area and I've worked my way small. Now I just have the trimmers just attacking any little areas, putting on the wall half, just tidying up anything. And of course, it may look like ordinary, right? This beard, it might look very ordinary right now, but just wait until you put a line on it. Barbers, you guys know what I'm talking about, where something may look a certain way, a blend might look cool, but it takes on a totally different appearance once you put a line on something. Real barbers out there would know exactly what I'm talking about. So you see that fade, it looks a lot different once I turn them, because if you have different lighting sources and things like this, it can create shadows and different looks depending upon where the camera catches the fade. But you saw as I turned him, the blend, you saw the blend a lot more there. Unfortunately, I don't get certain parts of me doing his beard. I apologize for that. But overall, you get the general concept of this. A lot of it's pretty simple. So now I have the 3.5 blade on, and I'm going up another inch above that 1.5 that I kicked everything off with. And this will be the highest blade that I use in the fade, is the 3.5. So now I've got the 2 on. So I'm starting big, working my way small. So if you guys are really keeping track, and you'll notice that with my steps, it's really simple. I start big, work my way small, make sure that area is clean before I proceed, then move on to the next. Start big, work my way small, make sure that area is perfect, then I move on to the next. This is just one step, and this is what I commonly use. I made a video about the 5 different fading systems that I use on a day-to-day basis. I actually have 7, but this is just one technique that I use. I've used other techniques in different videos, so I highly recommend that you guys go browse the channel and check out some of the other videos that I have to offer. It's all about perspective and point of view. You know, if you can get something from this, great. If you can get something from one of my other tutorials, that's great. There's no one way to do these fades. Everyone has their own way of doing things. So now I've got the 1.5, if you can see, I'm like really notching with the corners, and you see there the occipital bone, I had to come back with the wall half. If you look and pay attention, I went up pretty high with it. That's because that's what you have to do in that area with the occipital bone. You have to go up a little bit higher because it's just the way it works with the occipital bone. It's just weird like that. I don't know why it is, to be honest. I wish someone could really explain to me why the hair is so dense and can be so much different in the back, and then why the hair on the temple area is so easy to fade. So now I'm coming in, I'm going to do scissor over comb to connect those hairs on top, and I'm just basically bringing my comb through the hair, looking for the short hairs, and then anything that overlaps as I bring the comb up, I'm removing it in a manner that I'm creating a shape. I'm not gonna go into the round of his head, because right there is his parietal ridge, and I don't want to go to the curvature of his head. I want to go straight up. I don't want to round off his head, because pretty much this is a shorter hairstyle and his head pretty much looks round, so I don't want to make him look even more round. So I'm just going straight up, and this is just very simple clipper over comb, very simple. And as you see, that fade is pretty good. But of course, you're gonna come back here and just tidy up some things. So now on this other side, it's a little bit more sped up. I'm gonna use the same steps. Just keep track. You should be able to know, based off of what you guys heard me say thus far, what I'm going to do next. Sorry about the camera going in and out. But just follow the steps. Very simple. You just get to see this happen just a little bit quicker. And typically I don't fade like this where I go 50-50 like this. I really just do this for YouTube sometimes. And in this case, it just worked out this way to fade 50-50 like this. Give you guys two different looks.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
I'm actually not a fan of it. I know some barbers do like to do this, but me personally, I'm not a fan of fading 50-50. I think sometimes it can create inconsistencies if you're not careful, but I'm sure, of course, if you're proficient at it and you do this a lot, then you have a good system. It's just like anything. Like when someone says you should do something like this, or you should only do something like that, no, that's wrong. I'm not saying don't 50-50. If that's what you want to do and you're comfortable with it, definitely try it. But me, I go around the entire head and do everything at one fell swoop and just boom, boom, boom. But same thing, clipper over comb, very simple. And I'm coming back with the 3.5. Just repeating the same steps that I did before. Consistency is key, guys. That's the key to a lot of the fading techniques and things like that. It's all about consistency. Doing the same thing over and over creates repetition. It builds muscle memory, and then it gets to the point where you don't have to think about what you're doing. So now we're just going to go up to the lineup, and this is where this fade is going to tie in, and you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about. So right now with the trimmers, I'm just using the trimmers to create a baseline. I'm not using the trimmers to really create such a hard line. My razor is going to do that, and you're going to see that here in a second, because with the razor, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I just want to create a nice line. And of course, like, I don't want to come in here too hard with the trimmers, because I'm coming back with the razor. I don't want to beat the guy up, you know. So I'm applying my Timeless Shave Gel. I'm pretty liberal with this. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't need that much. I was pretty liberal with it. And now I'm just gonna do his mustache. And now I'm cleaning up any hair here on his cheek, because of course, like guys, when you do this, you want to clean up that hair higher on the cheek and like right underneath their eye. Attention to detail. There's a lot of vellus hair there, so you want to really get that hair and get rid of it. So now we're going to go into lining and refining and defining the line here. So if you see there, I created the line there, and now I'm coming here, and you'll see I'll bring that line down a little bit. You probably see that the line just brought down a little bit. I'm solidifying the line with the razor. That's why I didn't want to go in too gung-ho with the trimmers. And this is very simple. Stretch the skin. I'm using nice short strokes. The blade is around 30-degree angle, and you can see the definition of that beard line. See, so now I'm doing the same thing with his mustache, using the backhand. And as you can see, my man, he came in woolly mammoth, looked like he just got out of the woods, but now he's a city boy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below of this haircut. Any of the products I use in this video will be linked in the description below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and browse the channel. I have plenty of great barbering content. I love this fade. I love this look. This is actually the first time I've actually done this on someone. I've done it on myself. Like I say, link to that video will be in the description below, but man, totally good look for him. I love the look. Let me know what you guys think. It's been your man, I Do It, signing out. And I'll holla.